Hey, friends and family. Hey, loved ones. So I wanted to share a little bit of what's coming up for me because just there's been feelings of annoyance and frustration and agitation, irritation and triggers, coming up for me. And it's interesting to look at, certain dynamics in my family and how that does bring up, certain wounds like nothing else can. Like an interaction, with a sibling that brings up a lot of old garbage and old baggage and activates like a core wound, like a family wound, and stuff that feels unresolved. And so then feeling this internal struggle and internal conflict about some things, but really appreciating it at the same time, like as I'm witnessing and seeing and observing certain stories and feelings and thoughts and beliefs and patternings, like and imprintings, like coming up to the surface. And doing my best not to get caught in that loop of self-righteous judgment or condemnation or making the other wrong or feeling wrong for feeling what I'm feeling, or just acknowledging what I'm seeing and willing to learn and follow like some of these stories to see where I can love more of me. I can love me more fully. I can resolve this within myself instead of justifying the split. But there is like a lot of, like old poor me victim scripts like coming up to, and like this other part that's just so fed up and tired of the victim story and the virtuous perpetual victim that feels so entitled. And it's like, just the child that doesn't want to grow up and take accountability and wants to keep blaming or giving their power away to someone else, to their outer circumstances and their past, their history, their trauma, their wounding, all those things. And so it does help me see like that it's a reflection for me, and I can empathize like with my sister's story and the stories that come up like for me, like to see. And some of the stories that really I'm really tired of. And it's ironic too because this just kind of playing some things out in my mind and going over it, haven't allowed myself to really sleep, and I am feeling tired. But I just wanted to get up and express some things and just get them off my chest as well. Because, there's just a part of me that's just so done with those that are so self-absorbed and so deep in their self-pity and victim stories. It's just like, how long can you listen to those stories again and again and again? Because they're so exhausting, because they never end, and you can never do anything with them, and you can never do anything to help the person who's telling those stories. And it's just like, what is the point of telling those stories? What's the payoff of those stories? And it does it does suck. It does suck all of the air out of the room. It's just, if that's, I'm just baffled too by the payoffs, the payoffs that there are, to keep putting that much energy into that story, into that victim story, into that poor me story. And it's never going to get better story, and no one will listen to me, and no one wants to help me, and no one shows up for me, and no one's doing what I need them to do. No one, can be who I need them to be. And maybe that's like, one of the things is, I'm sorry I can't be who you need me to be. I'm sorry I can't please you. I'm sorry you're not pleased. I'm sorry I can't fix things for you. I'm sorry I can't make them comfortable for you. I'm sorry I can't lie anymore for you. I'm sorry I can't, play games or carry on this role, this story with you, And so it's just it's time for a new story. Holy shit. So, just, seriously, just the emotions that come up, it wasn't a huge, terrible interaction, but it was just really, really, aren't we done with this? Really, because I want to be done with that. I am so tired of people rejecting their own magnificence and their own power and their own ability, to change their own minds or to shift, their own lives, and to work with what they have and what they've been given. Instead of, focusing on the outside and all the things that have been done to them or happened to them, or all those things. So it just, what wants to be shared and expressed about this, because there is a lot to it, and it wasn't a terrible interaction, but there was a lot of shadow dumping. And I feel too, there was shadow dumping on both sides in a way, playing out old wounds and old patterns of the martyr and the miser, and the beggar. The orphan, the victim. The wounded healer, the storyteller, and just stories of self-pity, self-importance, superiority and inferiority, and being disabled and dismembered and disempowered, discarded, devalued, not allowed, cut off, cut out. This is when we don't, enable the other to have their stories, or listen for the 10th time. And really give them their narcissistic supply. It's just wow, they don't want to hear anything. And it's they're already self-absorbed, and they have no more room for anyone else in their world. And and so there is a couple things I wrote down about this, and just kind of mulling over in my mind while I was laying in bed. And it's just like so frustrating though. Like, I don't know what my expectations are. And what I'm attached to about this, but the stories that I was seeing come up were just like, wow, really about the codependent and the narcissist, and wanting to please, wanting to smooth it all out and make it all right and make it better. But that's really disingenuous, and I'm kind of tired of walking on eggshells, and I really don't feel like I have the time or the energy to listen to like the same sad sob story again and again and again. Yeah. Without offering something and saying, I'm sorry, like, I have boundaries and I really don't want to be dumped over, and I'm sorry I can't help you and you can't help yourself. And so it's just like really feeling to like, what do you feel like you're owed, or what do you feel like we owe you? You know, and it's just like, in what space have you made, like, for me, you know, in this one-way street, in this relationship? And that is like kind of an old pattern I was noticing like 2 years ago. And so it is kind of, interesting seeing it play out between me and my younger sister in certain ways, like for me with what I perceive. What's asking to be integrated or like let go of because it's not true for me anymore. And it's just like a less willing to just kind of take other people's garbage and shadow dumping and spiritual vomit, you know. And it's not like I expected anything different, but I asked her how she was doing. And then it's just like the story gets told with, oh, I'm not doing good, and this and this and this and this is happening, and the same story of I'm dying, this is how sick I am, this is how I'm unable to care for myself. But then there's no like real other substance, and there's no asking, no asking of help or of being open to anything, to receive anything. And it was just so ridiculous to me a month ago that I really wanted to help her and with her financial situation, and give her a little cushion to help, and to help supplement like some things that for, you know, to help, with those kinds of things that they needed and whatnot. But they made it so hard. They couldn't get mail. They couldn't have visitors to their house only in certain hours. They didn't want to do it through a bank transfer. They they didn't want to look at other things, look at other options. And it was just like so like, really, like, I've never seen anyone block themselves this much from receiving something that they need, or that they say they really want, or that hasn't been available to them. And it's just like kind of interesting to like to see like all these reasons of how they've built so many walls around themselves, and really played like the victim, and projected a lot of shit onto everyone else. But I mean, it does take two to play out like dysfunctional patterns and things. But it's just like no accountability like for what they've created for themselves, and the ways that they've isolated themselves, and had to remove themselves from all of the family members and all of those relationships that didn't allow them to keep reinforcing like their own disempowerment and like victim stories, like, because help was offered and given, and efforts were made to share love and care, but it was never enough, and it was always lacking, or there was something wrong with it, or it made them feel worse, or insulted or offended or unhappy in some way. And so it's just like, how can you even win at all? Like, and being attached to like, that maybe this will help them get on their feet, or this will help them like feel a little bit better so they can take care of themselves, and it's just always the same story, like, really. And it's been sad, like, and exhausting for a lot of us in the family that did really try hard to like just show up and be a support and listen and care and like offer different things that we were able to, but it wasn't ever like good enough for what they wanted it to be, or what they needed it to be, or and they keep repeating like the same story where they do kind of lose friends and allies because of like their own toxicity. But it's interesting that they project that toxicity onto other people and don't take any accountability for their for their own. So it is like, kind of potent for it to come up now, before like this full moon next week, and this in the middle of this eclipse season currently that we're swimming in, and kind of clearing out some of the old the old scripts and the old identities and the old ways of relating and being being like wound mates, and perpetuating like different dysfunctional patterns that don't serve the whole and our greatest well-being. And so it's just interesting to see in some ways like where I have felt like a little bit angry and irritated about like, damn it, why do you have to create so much pain for yourself and then sit there and pick at like the scab and cry about it, and no one else is like, pouring over it like you are, and as absorbed and into it as much as you are. And so it's like even more sad that, and it's so addicted to our pain that we've identified with it, and we don't know who we are without it. And it's just like that's probably painful and threatening to be confronted with, and it's probably would make the other person angry, and not wanting to give that up, or the payoffs that go with it and all that. I do acknowledge that she has suffered, and that she's been through trauma, and that been through a lot of pain, and she has had a lot of sad, unfortunate experiences when it came to being different and not being able to fit in this world, and to belong, and be accepted like by peers or mother figures, and herself, and so it's just sad in a lot of ways, that I really can't be what she needs me to be for her, but I can love her and I can thank her for who she's been and who she is to me and for me. And yeah, some of it, I guess, I took a little bit personally, when she tells her stories about no one in the family listens to me and everyone tries to shut me down because they don't want to hear about my problems. And it's like they really don't care about me. And it's just like really being dismissive of the people who have shown up for her and have tried to give and offer and care for her and love her and share with her and help her and want to see her like do better and to feel well. But really, since they're so much smarter and they know better than everyone else, yeah, it's just like they're above the help. But then, yeah, it's such a weird kind of a unconscious game in a lot of ways. And so it is like, it's been like very like vampiric energy, like the fragile covert narcissist, and the codependent, and their caregiving and the rescuing. Although like that hasn't been the case in the last 15 years because we had been estranged, because she had cut everyone off from her life because we were the toxic ones that only made her life more miserable and whatnot. But since my mom's passing and her last couple weeks when she was in hospice at my other sister's home, we'd all come back together and had been in touch and in contact because of our mother's death. And it was good to reconnect with her, and I do love her. And yeah, it's too bad that really nothing has improved or changed for her, and she's reinforced the story, like, yeah, for herself, and made it like so real that, yeah, they're only in their 30s, but they act like they're in their 80s and like they're just decrepit and can't do anything for themselves and falling apart. So I think, it is pretty sad to see that. And it's just like uncomfortable to feel, helpless, and to know that she feels helpless, and for myself to feel helpless that I can't help her because she can't help herself. And so, like, yeah, that's a lot of like old guilt to let go of, and responsibilities and beliefs and choices that aren't mine, and lessons that aren't mine, and challenges like that are not mine to face, but like it helps me to see, how this challenges me to let go and just to let her be where she's at, and do what I need to do for myself, and let her make her own choices for her life. And but there was some definite stories and voices coming up, like in like a kind of wounded reaction to like some of the feelings of resentment and hostility that were coming up. Like, I wasn't enough, I couldn't be enough, I'm sorry I'm not enough, and I'm sorry, like, you're not enough, I'm sorry you don't have enough, I'm sorry, like the love that's been shared wasn't enough, and that you can't remember anything positive, happy, loving, or good from your childhood, or from what has been shared with you, the love that has been shared and offered and given. Like, I'm sorry, like, it's all mostly all negative and traumatic and terrible for you. Like, it's just like she has the worst life in the whole world, and no one else has suffered as much as she has. And it's just like, yeah, some of these stories that were coming up was, do you think you're so fucking special because you're the only one that suffered? You know? And it was just like, because of that, being so tired of the self-pity stories and the self-importance and the way that we make ourselves separate and we cut ourselves off and we isolate ourselves, and then, you know, we cry and lament about how alone we are, but we've created it for ourselves. And that's why it's so frustrating, like, to see that and you know, maybe be, you know, in, like, yeah, looking in and seeing like how I've created some of that pain for myself as well. And that's why, like, I can empathize and relate, and it hurts too. Like, yeah, these different parts of myself know, like, the strategies that kept me divided and separate. But yeah, there were payoffs, and it was part of that survival and safety strategy or comfort zone, but it's no longer true. And so it's like, it's a little uncomfortable, and I just don't want to reinforce that or play along with that or give it any more of my energy. And so, wow. One thing I'm working through and psychically processing is letting go of shadow caregiving, rescuing, enabling the narcissist and the virtuous victim, the beggar, the miser, the martyr, the entitled wounded child, and the vampire ghost harpy. The mother superior and ego inferior, the know-it-all, the self-absorbed epicure. I'm all alone in this world and no one understands me, the saboteur. Sad, 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 poor me, self-pity stories, and woe is me. Feel misery for me, feel misery with me. Yeah, in this self-pity. It's just like the toxic and perpetual victim, and she will never receive enough love from the outside of herself. Yeah, she's just unable to receive what she needs, yeah, from outside of herself. And I can't do anything for her. I can love her from afar and wish her well, but I can't take on any of her problems or fix them for her. She's much too attached to her pain and victim story roles and identities, and she is blinded by her rage and her pain and suffering. Stuck in the poor me victim stories and the misery payoffs. Yeah. She clearly has no room for anyone else in her world to have a different experience, a different opinion, a different perception, outlook, understanding, belief, and identity. She's so self-absorbed, closed off, she has no room for anyone else's story or experience but her own. Is she really that shut down or emotionally stunted and retarded? She doesn't realize others have feelings, lives, needs, struggles, challenges, blessings, and possibilities. And it's like, really? Do you think you're fucking special because you've experienced so much pain? Is this the payoff for you to remain married to your pain? Are you playing this out for my benefit and our family? That's interesting. As the baby of the family and the disabled, decrepit, elderly, frail, fragile, narcissist, beggar, miser, what do you think we really owe you or we need to be for you? Your attitude is so intolerant, rigid. You're shut down and you're so ego insistent on your own way and your own self-importance and self-pity. The victim consciousness to the nth degree. Poor me, poor me, poor me. I'm sorry. I am really sorry. But please forgive yourself and help yourself and love yourself and choose yourself and choose to live for yourself and choose to love yourself. Be yourself and free yourself and remember your whole self. Remember yourself. And you may not have liked or enjoyed or agreed with what I had to say and what I had to offer, but I needed to say those things for myself so I could move on and move forward and let you do you by yourself. Because no one can help you if you can't help yourself. And if you've made up your mind and it's a rigid, frozen, closed off, resistant, and infiltrated mind, then there's nothing anyone else can do to help you or remind you of you. It's just little me all alone and suffering. Nobody else understands me. Poor me, self-pity, self-importance, and strategies. All these, small roles and stories. Addicted to our pain and the payoffs, of repeating like this drama again and again and again. And so, there was a lot of like irritation there. And frustration and impatience, like with an inability to make it better, make it more comfortable, make it all right, and fix things. You just kind of have to let people go and let them experience what they need to go through or to come through, to go back home to themselves, to return to themselves and to know themselves and to know that they can shift things for themselves. And they need to receive it and experience it and retrieve it for themselves. And so just kind of letting go of that old obligation or old responsibility or old assumption that I could carry anything or fix anything for anybody. Really, I know I can help and offer assistance and offer gifts and love and blessings, but they need to be able to receive that in their own ways too, and receive that for themselves and appreciate and acknowledge what they're being given as well, and value, all of it and their whole self and all that they've been given. And I know like that in certain ways can sound harsh, but I know I've been there too, and I had to realize it for myself. And I'm always reminded, and I'm happy to remember it. Remember that for myself and for my own well-being. So this little triggers, and I'm sure it is just something I get to clear away. Some of these old beliefs and stories and identities and what I felt like I was responsible for, what I felt I had to be for someone else so they could be well and happy. And I just know I get to be love and for myself. And not everyone's going to like what I have to say or share or offer or contribute or be or play out or play at being. And that's okay. And it really is. And so it's just wow, just freeing myself and freeing all others to be who they need for themselves. And so I can be grateful for those triggers and like the feelings and stories that came up, so that can help me remember myself and remember what's true for myself, and everyone else, gets to see that for themselves, see whatever they need to see for themselves, and hold on to or let go of whatever they choose. So they can be all they need for themselves, be loved for themselves, and be whole, like in themselves, you know. And so it's not my job to detox another person of their toxicity. It's my job to purify and remove what's in me that resonates or is a match for that toxicity. And I'll take accountability for my actions and my relationships and my part in the whole, with those who are in relationship with me and for myself, I'm willing to do that, and I'm willing to let go of that which doesn't serve me, and playing in old dynamics and walking on eggshells and shadow caregiving and playing along and reinforcing other people's victim stories just doesn't work for me, and it doesn't serve me, and it's not true for me anymore. And so that is a little uncomfortable. And there's some much more to see about what's being asked to be seen and released, also integrated and taken accountability for. And so it is interesting to see some of these things coming up. And not that the interaction with my sister really angered me, but there was a couple things that did sting and did like kind of give me a knee-jerk reaction. And what it brought up like to the surface was like some old ancestral pain and stories. And so there was like some emotional charges to it too. And so it was just interesting to see these parts like having this conversation with each other, and this part that's like just fed up with it, like, and ready to be done with it and move through that, or get over that, this is like, get over your fucking self, like it's okay, really, like, to have compassion for all of our suffering and what we've been through. But like, if it's just part of like that badge that we wear, or that makes us just so separate from everyone else. Like, that's a definite, like, excessive, obsessive way to control things and stay in that comfort zone of misery and isolation and hell, and all the stories that we just can't help but tell. Like, and why do we tell those stories? Like, what is the purpose of like reinforcing those stories? And like, what is that supply that we're after? Is it sympathy? Is it pity? Is it someone else's caregiving because we can't give it to ourselves? And what is it that we're not willing to receive in certain ways, like when things are being offered to us to contribute, like, to our well-being and to our lives, like, if we're open to that. But it's just funny how a lot of us are resistant to certain things, certain changes, making certain changes that ultimately do serve us, but they're uncomfortable and really messy in the beginning, and really scary sometimes. Like, so it is just kind of funny and silly, and just having compassion for all of us where we're at, and knowing like it is okay for us to be where we're at, and Yeah, even though we get frustrated with ourselves and others, like, like, really, this again? And what if it's not supposed to be, like, easy and um, less messy, or, like, so sanitized and clean and pleasant? But, like, there is so much joy and beauty, like, in it, too. Like, it really is about what we focus on and what we put into it. And, yeah, what we make of it, and what we do with it, how we respond to it, and how we let it work for us. Yeah. How we put it to work for us, how it can work through us, how love can work through us. And even in the most excruciating, terrible, yeah, like, because it feels terrible sometimes to, like, wake up to certain things, but and to really claim that and feel that and live that humility. And, yeah, thank everybody for playing their parts, even if we do, like, and especially too, if they can help us learn, like, healthy boundaries and respecting ourselves, and asking ourselves what we've dismissed and what we've discarded and what we've devalued about our own self and our own ability, like, to create what we need and be that love that we need and be that love that we are, and work with the gifts that we do have and we have been given to nourish, nurture, cultivate. And appreciate, yeah. Because, too, it's sad, like, that we feel like we're so disabled in a lot of ways because we haven't believed in ourselves, and like, what we do have to work with, and the help that is being offered, and the love that is being given always. And if we could start to notice that it's like following what comes, the next thing and the next thing and the next thing, will come if we're open and we follow that, call. But it is scary, like, to be able to, yeah, to let everything else go and do that and follow that. So it is like, yeah, it takes a lot of courage and a lot of faith and a lot of trust, yeah, to wander. Yeah. We are wandering, yet we are sustained, nourished, and loved. And it, yeah, a big realization, yeah, for me, to see that, like, how much love there really is for all of us, and how much love, like, there always has been for me. And it's humbling to see that, like, in so many ways, in every single way, like, that I have been blessed to share and experience the gift of relationship, like, through all these many beings that are connected and interconnected and related to me, and help me know and remember myself. So, let's see if I'm complete and I can go allow myself to sleep now, because there was, yeah, some really some things that got sparked there and activated, and yeah, it just wouldn't really simmer down and let me sleep till I, yeah, just kind of expressed and felt what I needed to feel about all of those things, like, because, yeah, the caregiver in me and the compassionate listener and witness wants to just be all soft, nurturing, cuddly, But then, yeah, it's just like, to what extent am I enabling or like allowing it to continue, like by being like too passive about what I have the energy for and what, yeah, I don't. Because if it's taking like so much energy and it's exhausting, that means it's not aligned, like, I'm not saying that challenges aren't going to bring their own fatigue and everything, but it's just like working so hard, and not getting like any results, or like very small, like with all the energy expended, very little like return or like reciprocity. And so it's just like, yeah, there's an imbalance there. There's an excess or a deficiency. And so it's showing me something about, yeah, where to direct and where to focus my energy. And focusing that more on love, gratitude, play, learning, growing, and moving towards like what I get to dream, live, and create, and embody and be for me. And so, yeah, clearing some of these things away so that I am free and all others are free, like to choose that for themselves, and so I can, yeah, free myself to follow that, and yeah, to embody, yeah, all that, just to live like true to myself, and not have to play certain games any longer to please or to make others or myself comfortable. And so, yeah, just showing up, and yeah, I'm willing, yeah, to learn and to grow and to make mistakes and to face like everything that, yeah, has prevented me from being one within me, being one whole, and being at peace. And so, yeah. Thanks for listening. Be love for yourself, love yourself, take care of yourself. We'll see you for now.